Welcome to the Feed Energy booth at the Midwest Poultry meeting. It's a little different than you're used to, but come in and have a seat with us. Be sure to share your contact info. We have some gifts for you for attending the booth and for watching this video. We have a couple of special guests with us today. We have Dr. Mike Persia joining us. You didn't exactly walk into our booth, but welcome, Mike. Good to have you. And we also have the head of R&D for Feed Energy, Mohan Dasari as well. Mohan's a great technical expert, worked for the company more than 10 years in developing fat and oil products and also improving the quality of our products. He's also in charge of quality assurance and regulatory for us. So what we thought we'd do today is try to keep this informal, very similar to Mike coming to our booth, and as one with a lot of technical expertise in the field, we'd of course ask him some questions and hope they relate well to what you would ask him as well. So Dr. Persia, what are some adjustments as you go through summertime that you'd recommend for producers trying to optimize performance for especially laying hens and maybe also broilers and turkeys?
Yeah, so in the summer, one of the major things that we're dealing with is heat stress. And when you look at the responses to heat stress, you're talking most of that, the estimates are about 60% of the negative effects of heat stress are actually caused by a drop in feed intake. So what you really want to do here is, ultimately the best thing to do would be to avoid heat stress. Now in the Midwest, where we have large temperature fluctuations, that's not always possible. So from a nutritional standpoint, some of the things that can be, I'm going to focus on really three different things. One is maximize the amount of feed intake that those birds are able to consume in hot part of the days. So, if you're able to flip lights on at night and increase feed intake and allow those birds to consume a little bit more feed when it's not really hot in the heat of the day, that's a good strategy. But when we look at trying to add some things to help, in addition to the drop in feed intake, one of the major things that we see in heat stress is damage to the mitochondrial lining. And that actually allows, if you remember from science class, the mitochondria is a powerhouse. So it basically sets up a gradient across its cell membranes and starts moving electrons across that. So that actually generates a lot of free radicals. So when those membranes start to break down, when those mitochondria are damaged, it releases a lot of those free radicals. So having an antioxidant, either ascorbic acid has been used in the past, or other antioxidants is actually a good thing to have in heat stress. And then the final thing I'll talk about is damage to the intestinal lining. And what we're looking at here is heat stress, or really most stresses in general, especially those that cause a reduction in feed intake, will actually damage the lining that protects the body from all the microbes in the GI tract. So adding something to that diet that will help those birds overcome some of those challenges will also be helpful when you have a heat stress event. Because what happens when you have that heat stress, you can either have translocation of bacteria or even bacterial metabolites, and that can cause damage systemically then.
Maybe we should talk about antioxidants in some of the Feed Energy line of products. It's a little different type of material. You want to comment on that?
Yeah, certainly. So Feed Energy's main product, what we refer to as acid oil or acyclated vegetable oil, has a whole lot of antioxidants that are naturally coming out of soybeans, so which is primarily tocopherols. So we have a high loading of tocopherols, and we also have some amount of color bodies like lutein and zeaxanthin and carotenes, which are also very natural and very potent antioxidants. So due to that, the base oil that we produce at a Feed Energy plant are extremely stable. We have an OSI of greater than 80 to 100 hours without adding any antioxidant in it. So it's extremely stable compared to any other natural oil that we see outside. So oils such as distillers corn oil or soybean oil, a lot of times don't have any of those antioxidants. So they need support from synthetic antioxidants to get that stability, whereas the oils from feed energy are naturally rich in those antioxidants.
Yep, real good. That's a unique thing, I guess, about some of the products, or the backbone of our company is kind of that produced veg product, veg oil product that we know from analysis is a little bit higher in antioxidants than you'd find typically on the market. So, Dr. Persia, what do you think of feeding fats and oils in the summertime? Is it do you like to bump up energy levels in the summertime to deal with that feed intake issue, or what do you like to recommend for energy levels in the summer?
Yeah, so I think from that standpoint, there's two things. One, concentrating that diet by adding some energy in fat. Fat's a very concentrated energy, but the additional benefit of adding a fat in the summer is going to be that fat is metabolized fairly efficiently, and it does not produce a whole lot of during that metabolism process. Very different when we're talking about a fermentation, where those bacteria, when some of the more complex starches and fibers in there, they produce a lot of heat. Fat generally has a lower metabolic energy and is more efficiently utilized in the summer, so it doesn't produce as much body heat. So I think it is actually an effective means of helping birds maintain that energy intake without contributing too much excess body temperature.
The other thing, I guess, that is always on our minds, of course, we're feeding birds to raise food, to raise good food. So thinking about egg quality and, the impact of summer or heat stress on egg quality, is it a concern?
Yeah, so I'm gonna concentrate a little bit on more egg shell quality in my answer, because I think as we see a shift of producing birds longer and longer without a molt or not even molting at all, shell quality is actually becoming a critical issue to a lot of the producers. So when we look at that, getting that right calcium and phosphorus blend and getting that good vitamin D, a fat soluble vitamin uptake is also critically important. And I think what we're trying to figure out right now with this shift in production is at what stage in either the pullet development or even in early lay or middle lay are important from a nutritional standpoint to try to maximize that skeleton so that hen can continue to produce eggs further into that production cycle and still maintain eggshell quality and maintain her skeletal health.